Thank you.
You're welcome.
Welcome, everyone. This is the regular board meeting for the Tioga County Industrial Development Agency. It is Wednesday, December 2nd at 4:31 p.m. 2020. The meeting is hereby called to order. Christine, could you do the roll call, please?
Jen Ceccarelli,
Yes.
Kevin Gillette,
Yes.
Aaron Gowan,
Here.
Tracy Manell,
Yes.
Martha Sabray, Eric Knowles,
Here.
John Ward.
Here.
Thank you. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Has everyone had a moment to review the minutes? If so, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second,
It's there.
please.
Second, Eric.
Thank you. Roll call, Christine.
Jen Ceccarelli,
Yep.
Kevin Gillette,
Yes.
Aaron Gowan,
Yes.
Tracy Manell,
Yes.
Martha Sabray, Eric Knowles,
Yes.
To approve of the minutes.
John Ward.
Yes.
Thank you. Seeking a motion to acknowledge the financials, please.
So moved. This is Aaron.
Second, John.
Thank you. Jen Ceccarelli,
Yes.
Kevin Gillette,
Yes.
Aaron Gowan,
Yes.
Tracy Manell,
Yes.
Martha Sabray.
Yeah.
Eric Knowles,
Yes.
John Ward.
Yes.
Okay. So next up is Leanne Tinney with the EDMP update. And she'll also be speaking on behalf of what Brittany Woodburn would have been speaking to.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to give a brief ED&P update, as Christine mentioned. Just want to kind of let you know what we're doing over here. We are currently working with Southern Tier 8. Southern Tier 8 is working on putting an opportunity zone mapping and marketing plan together. If you recall, we have 2 opportunity zones in Tioga County, one in the town of Nichols and one in the village of Spencer. So we welcome that assistance in marketing those areas. Working with the village of Nichols and county on shared services purchase for equipment. There's a need for a vacuum truck. And so we're assisting with a USDA grant application toward the purchase of that equipment. I've had an opportunity to meet with 5 different manufacturing type businesses looking to come to the Southern Tier area. It's very interesting. All 5 of these are coming from a metro area and looking to relocate their business to a more rural setting. So it's kind of interesting. Continuing our work with the Economic Recovery Advisory Council and putting our plan in place according to the goals and objectives that were set forth in that plan. And that was, remember, on COVID, the impact of COVID, and a strategy to address that. On DRI, we have 18 active projects. New York Main Street working on 6 projects, Restore New York 2. We have potential for grants, 14 potential grants, 2 that are pending right now, and 18 active grants that we are working on. Regarding housing, we continue to work. We'll talk a little bit more about home leasing and the Owego Gardens project, but also been working closely with the Land Bank and the Ithaca Neighborhood Housing Services project and the Temple and Liberty Street areas of the village of Owego, and also continuing our discussion with John Bernardo, who represents SEP out of Broome County. They have an interest in doing something in Tioga County as well. On ag, the study is commencing, and we have also been working, Megan and Elena have been working on solar mapping or providing a map of where the solar projects are located in Tioga County. And I am also doing an analysis on the real property impact of those projects that have been approved. I'll be sharing that hopefully with the IDA next month. And workforce, continuing our work with the Broome Tioga Talent Task Force, as well as continuing to move forward the pipeline development study. Specifically, Brittany is working on a grant application to apply for funding to create a recruitment tool. What we discovered as part of our work on the workforce pipeline is that there's not one easily accessible point that somebody coming to the area can go to and look up information that somebody new locating in the area might be interested in finding. You have to kind of really search for that. So we're looking at putting together an implementation or a recruitment tool so that we can make that process a little easier. That's some of the things we're working on in ED&P. Specifically, Brittany Woodburn was going to address the board tonight if she was unable to make it, so she's asked me to bring this forward. This is regarding DRI. If you recall, the Tioga players were originally awarded $290,000 in DRI funds for the design and construction of a 4,000 square foot addition to their existing building. Unfortunately, due to circumstances surrounding COVID-19, they're not able to move forward with the original scope of work. They've reduced the project budget to approximately $60,000 to $70,000 right now, and will be undertaking a new scope of work that includes repair, reconstruction of the front porch and ramp, electrical work, installation, upgrade of equipment to allow for virtual performances, minor plumbing improvements. Originally, Tioga was going to have their own DRI contract with New York Homes and Community Renewal. However, because they are reducing the scope of their project so significantly, HCR has asked for the IDA, see if you are open to rolling the project and project funds in under the existing IDA HCR contract. Essentially, what would happen if the IDA is agreeable is we would assist in managing this project the same way as with the 13 business development and facade improvement projects that are already under this program. Tioga is working on providing a finalized project budget, which they will believe will be approximately $60,000 to $70,000. There will be about $220,000 in DRI funds that Tioga will be relinquishing. There is currently not a project approved for those relinquished funds. The state has asked us to put forth a project for consideration. The state would prefer that a funding assist a project that was already approved by the local planning committee in the original DRI plan, but was ultimately not selected for funding. Ithaca Neighborhood Housing Services is interested in submitting a proposal for those relinquished funds to the IDA for consideration for a housing project that they will hopefully be undertaking in the village of Owego in partnership with our land bank. If you recall, that was identified in the original plan for a housing project in the Temple and Liberty Street areas. Ultimately was not funded, but it was still noted in the plan. So what we're asking of the IDA is, is the IDA agreeable to rolling the $290,000 in funding under the existing DRI multi-site project, number one. Number two, is the IDA agreeable to administering the Tioga's new project of $60,000 to $70,000? And number three, will the IDA consider a proposal from INHS for the relinquished funds? So three things for the IDA to consider. And then from there, what will happen is, if agreeable, we'll look for a letter from the IDA to state that that you are agreeable to this. Brittany would put that together and bring it forward for Christine to sign. We're looking for the finalized budget from Tioga with an accompanying letter about the change and relinquishing their funds. We're looking for a finalized proposal from INHS. Once we have all of that, we'll submit the documentation to HCR, and it's going to be a lengthy process, probably a 2 to 3 month process. I also want to remind everybody that as part of the agreement with HCR, the IDA is allowed a 5% admin fee associated with those projects, which is going to amount to about $83,000. I want to have a little further discussion with the board about that, maybe as we go along. On that $83,000. I'm thinking that maybe that we could reach some sort of an agreement, because I know Brett and Megan are doing the lion's share of that work associated with those projects. So I'm just giving you an alert here that I may be coming back to you later to talk about that $83,000 admin fee that the IDA will be receiving for those DRI projects. Do you have questions about what I'm asking?
Yes, what does that mean? Repurposing that admin fee to do what to?
No, so I kind of mixed that in together. Sorry, I didn't mean to confuse.
Okay.
So what we're talking about is the relinquished funds will amount to about 290,000. That 290,000. Let me look again. 220,000. So the original amount that Tioga was approved for was 290,000. They're going to give back about 220,000 of that.
Right.
So two things that HCR would like to see happen. They don't want Tioga to have their own individual contract because it's such a small amount that they're talking about now, 60,000 versus the 290,000. They'd rather not have such a small contract. So what they're asking is, would the IDA take that under their umbrella and include it under what we're already doing with the HCR contracts? That's the first thing. Then that 220,000, how are we going to use that now? Since Tioga is not going to use it, how are we going to use it? So what we're proposing is that 220,000 go toward the INHS housing project, which was identified in the original plan. Use that 220,000 toward that project.
The Temple Street project that.
That did not get funded. Yep.
Right, okay.
Leanne,
Yes.
this is Tracy.
Oh.
So you said the original amount was 290,000. They're now going to do 50,000. And you said the amount they're giving back is 220,000. I'm pretty good at math, and that
Is my
doesn't add
math
up.
off, Trace? So originally, hang on. They were originally awarded $290,000, Tioga. So their new project is going to be between 60 and 70,000. Tiowaga's new project is going to be between 60 and 70. So whatever that number comes out to, we're waiting on those final numbers. The difference, whatever it ends up being, we would like to take and apply toward the INHS project.
Okay, I'm good with that.
You got that?
I love this plan.
Makes sense to me.
Okay, so the last part was
On the admin fee.
admin fee.
Yeah. So, well, I was just kind of prepping you.
I know, so you put the bait out. Now I
Yeah.
asked you on it
Yeah.
to do a project.
So the IDA is entitled to a roughly $83,000 as an admin fee that you'll get right off the top of the DRI projects that fall under the IDA umbrella. We're doing out of this office the majority of the work to bring those IDA projects together and get them going and administering and all of that. So I'm just prepping, Aaron, for, the give and take. What I'm just saying is I'll probably come back to you later and say, hey, that 83,000, we could really use some of that someplace else. And probably come to the IDA and ask if you would consider that.
So was the Tioga Players, was that an IDA project?
It was not initially, no. It was their own separate project. But because it was reduced so much, HCR doesn't want to keep it as its own lone project. They want to roll it into the ones that the IDA is already looking after.
But this new project that you're proposing, will that be an IDA project?
They didn't have.
Yes.
They
How much was that supposed to be originally?
to do the project.
The housing project?
Yeah.
I don't know that, couple million. This is just a portion of it. We're
I
trying to
thought
piece
that was a
that
big one.
together right now.
Yeah.
This
So
would
they're still,
help.
they'd still be interested in doing that project, even though the funding would only be 220,000.
This part of the funding would only be 220,000, this part. They are also accessing other funds as well. This is like a piece of the puzzle. It would help them with that project.
So does our admin fee go up because that goes into a IDA project?
Yep, good. Or it would, if your admin fee goes up, it would come off that 220,000.
Right.
The 5% would come off that 220. Unless you decided to forego that for that one.
Nope.
Just saying. That
You're
is an
gonna be
option.
asking for money.
I'm always asking for money.
We don't need an answer, we just want 2 on it, right?
So I need to know if these 3 points are agreeable. The 3 points again being rolling that 200 and ultimately it would be all of it, the Tioga and their relinquished funds. So the full 290,000. Is the IDA agreeable to rolling the full 290 in under the existing DRI multi-site project that you already have? That's the first thing. Are you agreeable to administering the Tioga new project, 60, 70,000? And if you think you would be agreeable to considering a proposal from INHS to use those relinquished funds of about 220,000, less the admin fee. Those are the 3 things.
I have yet another comment.
Yep.
I was part of the DRI decision-making group. And I understand by their presentation that you come up with a list, you get awarded a list, but yet those projects do get dropped. And for one reason or another, what I never really understood was who decides where the rest of the money goes that didn't get used. So
Ultimately, the state.
okay, so wouldn't the state have to bless this?
Yes, and we've been talking with HCR about it, so they're aware of the situation and so far agreeable in our discussion, although we've not submitted anything formal to them to approve yet.
But
So
it
we
would,
need to-
we would approve first and then you would submit it? to the-
Yeah, we would make a recommendation for the use of the funds, submit it to HCR. Ultimately, they would have the decision making, the ultimate say.
Well, I think that is a good idea for many reasons. Having sat on that DRI committee and listened to the presentation of what was intended for that area of this community, and also sitting on the land bank board and seeing what they're doing there, I think that would be a home run. Because the land bank is already securing property there, this would add to that overall project.
Okay, is the housing project going to be taxable once they get it built?
They have not approached us about a pilot yet, but I would not be at all surprised if they didn't come forth with a pilot request
But eventually it'd be a taxable piece of property.
eventually.
I'm agreeable to it.
I think it's a great idea.
He's a great neighbor.
I know, no kidding.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
This is Tracy. What are we looking for here?
I'm looking for concurrence on those 3 points that I outlined. We'll provide then a letter, an okay for Christine or Jenny, whomever, to sign a letter outlining those 3 points for us to send along with additional information to HCR.
So you need a resolution?
Joe, does it need to be a reso or a motion, or can we just say we have an agreement? It seems to be
I
agreeable.
think if you have a sense of the board, you can proceed ahead at some point, the instruments relative to this whole thing will have to be approved.
I
Okay.
think we can move ahead with a motion now.
I
Yeah,
think we need more information. I think we need Tiawaga's figures, but I mean, the board can agree to go forward,
yes. So look
and
at
then-
that, sure.
Yeah.
then we can make a motion, as Joe says later.
Yeah, you need a sense of the board. I mean, if the. if
Well,
the-
why don't we stop, hey, why don't we stop talking about it and get a sense of the board? This is Kevin. I say, okay, let's get the information in front of us to make a good decision.
All right.
Next. Yeah, Eric, I say move ahead.
Sure.
Aaron agrees.
I'm okay with it. This is John.
Okay. Sounds like we have the sense of the board. Thank you. We'll be coming back with more information.
Great. Thanks, Leanne.
Yep.
Leanne, what else do you have?
About Owego Gardens 2, we have quite a lot of information here as well. So to this point, all closing docs have been approved and signatures have been obtained. Everything should be finalized by December 4th, Friday. Funds will be dispersed on December 17th. Home leasing will have equipment on site on December 21st.
All the documents went out by FedEx this afternoon.
Great. So that's the land sale and the pilot.
The land sale and the pilot and the easements.
Okay, we've been talking a lot about the easements. The next step will be we're still waiting on DOH approval, although we keep inching closer to it, the Department of Health. We do have the wetland credits in place, so everything's done there. As far as our portion, our construction portion of the project, the tank project, we have revised numbers, which we'll share with you in executive. We have a time frame outlined. The bid packets will go out on December 8th. There will be a 3-week bid process period. Responses will be due by December 29th. The IDA will make an award at the regular meeting in January 6th. And work will commence 2 weeks thereafter on or around January 18th. So that's the time frame for us to get going on the stream relocation and the tank work. One of the things we need to have in place before any of the work can begin are the developer agreements with Suez. There are 2 developer agreements that will be required, one for the tank and booster station and one for the roadway. We've asked Joe to take a look. I don't know if he's had a chance yet, but we've asked him to take a look at the developer agreements that were put in place for the OG1 project and determine whether it's appropriate for the IDA to be the signer on the developer agreements or if it needs to be home leasing. So what we would look for tonight is authorization for any officer to sign the developer agreements once Joe has reviewed and made a recommendation on whether it's appropriate for us to sign or not.
Any questions about that? Did everybody understand Leanne's last statement? Yes? Do we need a motion to move forward with that authorization process?
So
Yeah.
moved.
Yes.
So
That was-
Aaron with the first,
I don't care. One of us.
Second.
Thank you. Roll
Kevin
call,
Gillette,
Christine?
Jen McGrilly,
Yes.
Kevin Gillette,
Yes.
Aaron Gowen,
Yes.
Tracy Manell,
Yes.
Brett Stabright,
Yes.
Eric Knowles,
Yes.
John Ward.
Yes.
thank you. Next thing on the list is Central New York Oil and Gas. If you recall, we were talking about the expired pilot and whether to extend or to implement a new pilot. I have presented to the Town of Owego Board. I'll be presenting to the Owego Appalachian School Board on the 7th, and I've given an overview to the county legislature, and they will be taking an action on December 15th. So far, all are in agreement. Joe, this is a little trickier than we thought it was going to be initially. The second parcel, that $17 million parcel, was not part of the stipulation agreement. That was a third pilot that had been put in place.
Okay.
They will be in 2021, they'll be at 90%. So we'll need to write it so that it will be the big property, the $87 million property will be at 100% for 5 years. The $17 million property will start at 90% and then go 100 for 4 years.
Okay.
Okay, so it's gonna be a little tricky, but everybody's in agreement with it so far. I've talked to Corey Green. The town was agreeable to it last night, and whatever night that was, Monday night. And then the county seems to be agreeable as well. So once we have either letters of support or resolutions, then I'll get with Joe. We'll at that time approach Crestwood, Central New York, Crestwood, Stagecoach, whatever they're called, and bring forth the request for them to make the application. Remember, they're under no obligation to do so. So we'll have a little work to do there. But so far, it looks like everybody is on board with that. Any questions about that?
Who are you talking to at Crestwood? Anybody?
Well, my
Your
friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody, Joe as a attorney contact that he's talked to before that he was going to reach out to. Okay there?
We're
Guess
okay.
so.
Okay. The last thing I wanted, it's not on here, but I want to just kind of, again, open the discussion and kind of get a feel, again, a sense of the board. With the pending legislation out there related to marijuana, selling, growing, and the retail and wholesale sale of marijuana in New York State. I just want to fly this out there and get a sense from you all. If there were a project to come to Tioga County that involved growing and retail or hotel sales of marijuana, and they were to ask for a pilot, I'm just wondering, I want to have the conversation, where would this board stand if that were presented to the board as a request?
Tracy, no.
Isn't that considered agriculture?
I would think so.
So, and we can't do anything with agriculture. You're biting your lip.
I don't know that. Well, because there's the three pieces to this. There's the growing, and then there's a retail sale and wholesale sale of the product. So as far as the growing, I would agree that would fall under ag. And Joe, is that prohibited then from the IDA offering a pilot on that?
You know, I don't know the answer to that. I've never.
Yeah, we have to look for that.
Hey guys, why are we charging into something that's going to be nothing but a bludgeoning in the public? This is the biggest problem with marijuana growing, distribution, and selling is, what do you do with the cash? Because it's not kosher at the federal level. So it seems to me that they'll find their own way to finance. And I've seen nobody held back in any of the reading I've done in Colorado or wherever the hell else it's legalized. I mean, I just think we got a lot of other things that we could put our attention towards, and I think this one flies in the face of most of the public around here.
I sort of had a sense that that's where this conversation was going to go.
Tracy, and I 100% agree with that.
So Joe and I talked briefly about it earlier. I don't know, legally if the IDA can exempt
Yeah,
any particular type. Go ahead.
well, you can turn down a project for any number of reasons. But if it's a legal activity in the state of New York, I don't know if you can in effect blackball them. I guess it's depends on how it's phrased or how it's structured. We've done 2 of these in Broome County, but they were both for the processing of
CBD.
oil.
That's a little different.
It is a little different, but I guess the feeling was that, and they haven't really moved the projects along, that they're really waiting for recreational marijuana. And that's what.
There's a huge difference between the hemp thing and the marijuana thing, in my opinion.
All right, what we've seen in the banking business up to this point is, it's been tough for any of these businesses to get something together that's sustainable. And yeah, I mean, I don't know how a pilot works out if you got a business that only makes it a few years.
Well, if they don't make it, and we've had one that never got off the ground, the property just gets put back on the tax roll.
Okay.
So we don't need to take an action or anything here. I just wanted to float this out here, open the conversation, get a feeling for, if I were to be talking with anybody, I have a sense for how the board might look at something like that. I think I've gotten that.
You do. You have the.
Conversation closed.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
A sense of the board.
Yeah.
Certainly got that.
Okay. That's all I have.
Thanks, Leanne.
Yep.
Christine,
Okay.
moving on.
So for the audit committee report, the annual audit's been scheduled for the week of January 11th. For the governance committee report, just noting that the procurement policy revision approved December 2019 was made, but there was a typo error. So I've attached that highlighted in red, and we will accept that correction and bring it forward for the annual review at the meeting in January. Finance committee report, per reviewing the investment policies, they are recommending that we replenish the site development CD as soon as possible and replenish the infrastructure CD as soon as the water tank construction project is completed. So we will be transferring from our ICS account into new CDs, and we'll be obtaining CD rates from the 3 banks we presently bank with. Moving forward to the loan committee report, we submitted the IRP scope of work revision, and it was approved by USDA. That was regarding alcohol businesses, retail, and brewing companies. So we won't be supporting bars, but we will be supporting retail and brewing. And moving on to railroad committee, I'm obtaining liability insurance quotes from various companies to see if we can get a better quote this year. The Surface Transportation Board has approved the transfer to RJ Corman, and that closing is anticipated next week. So moving on to pilot updates, both VNS and Best Buy are still submitting monthly sales tax exemption reports and are within their allowable limits. VNS has submitted their final report at $677,713.58 exemption amount. Owego Gardens 2 has requested a sales tax exemption extension until June 30th, 2023. We already issued the sales tax agreement. They've of course done no construction to date, so I'm seeking a motion to approve their extension request, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Jen Ceccarelli.
Yes.
Sorry. Kevin Gillette,
Yes.
Aaron Gowan,
Yes.
Tracy Manell,
Yes.
Martha Sabri,
Yes.
Eric Knowles,
Yes.
John Ward.
Yes.
Thank you. So for grant updates, the ag value chain is in progress. Regarding the broadband study, if you recall, the county and Southern Tier Network have an agreement, and the county and IDA have an agreement. But for the grant reporting purposes, it would be much clearer to have the agreement directly between Southern Tier and IDA. So we are seeking a motion to approve the Southern Tier Network and IDA agreement per Joe Mayor's approval and recommendation.
So moved, Eric.
Second, please.
Second, Aaron.
Thank you. I submitted the Town of Richford Railroad FEMA application
Christine?
today.
Chris,
We need to vote
take
on
your vote.
Oh, thank you. I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
So roll call.
Thank you.
Jen Ceccarelli,
Yes.
Kevin Gillette,
Yes.
Aaron Gowan,
Yes.
Tracy Manell,
Yes.
Martha Sabri,
Yes.
Eric Knowles,
Yes.
John Ward.
Yes.
Thank you. So the Richford FEMA application was submitted today. Because the town of Richford is a small impoverished community, our IDA match will only be required to be 10%. The Monkey Run FEMA application is still pending, and the VNS Water Sewer Extension Grant reimbursement was submitted, and we're anticipating that refund to come in the second quarter of 2021. That's the end of the regular agenda.
Do I have a
Motion.
motion to move into executive session, please?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Let's turn everything off, Christine. Thanks, Mia.
And
Megan, you can stay.
I'm gonna go grab my.
Okay. Sorry.
pause. What are you looking at?
Oh.
Pause. Okay, so yeah, just to close it out. Okay, we're back on live.
Any other discussion from anyone this evening?
Where's Megan?
She's
Megan's
here.
here.
Oh, is she? I can't see her.
She's over where at the desk there.
Definitely here. Writing down everything you said.
I have to make a final comment that it is good to hear some good news coming to Tioga County, interest in development or whatever it is. It's encouraging
It is.
news amid a very negative time. So thank you, Leanne, to you and your team.
Thank you, yes.
Did you?
Did we lose them?
Oh, no.
I'm
Okay.
here.
Oh, did you hear what I said?
I did, yes, thank you. I gave you a thumbs up.
Because it was meant for you, yes.
All right, let me know, let me just say thank you, Leanne, for everything you do. Because I'm a really warm and fuzzy guy and you understand that. You're doing a heck of a job. Well,
Thanks, Kevin.
Guess what?
Oh,
Guess
yeah.
what? She's got her hand out.
Yeah,
All right, guys, how about a motion to adjourn?
wait a minute, one last thing. On the annual meeting,
Yep,
you're just reminding everybody, annual meeting in January, that'll start at, Christine, did you have it set at 4?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock in the EDMP conference room upstairs, second floor.
And then the regular meeting will follow at 4:30.
Yes.
Yes.
So are we doing that? We still doing that virtual or what?
We're relocating to the EDMP conference room because it can hold us all. So
Well,
Okay,
it's-
so,
mm,
okay,
Your choice.
I thought.
okay, so we're gonna have to play it by ear. Because we don't know what's gonna happen between now and then, but you could use the auditorium if you're really, really nice to me, Leanne.
I suggested the auditorium and they didn't think that you would be agreeable to that.
You had told me that the acoustics in there are horrible.
They are terrible, but I fear I believe it's much safer than your conference room for this entire board.
You know, why don't we just continue to do things virtual until we're all comfortable with regrouping? That would be my suggestion.
I kind of agree.
Yeah.
I don't want to bring anything home.
I don't think it's time to commit to that yet, and I think we should just kind of play it by ear.
Okay.
And so one of the reasons I left the meeting tonight, so this is how serious it is. We lost 8 people to COVID today, 8.
Wow.
Serious business. So I want everyone to be careful.
Yes, please.
Motion to adjourn.
So move.
On that note, everybody have a wonderful Merry Christmas, please. And be safe.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Bye.
Holiday.
I'm absolutely floored that that's why when I was, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
God, Joe, you're cute.